Hey friends, Matt here with Peppercoat Barbecue, and welcome back to the Peppercoat Tech. Today I'm lining up the Old Country Barbecue Pits G3, the fully insulated smoker. There's been a lot of questions about this smoker, about bark build, fat rendering, convection, smoke flavor. And so today I want to do a shorter cook, so I'm going to throw on a rack of baby back ribs and see if it marks all of those boxes, how well it does with those things, what kind of smoke flavor we get on those shorter cooks, because obviously we are smoking, with less wood. And I have some opinions on that, but I'm going to save that to the end, and then we'll answer all those questions. I started the pit very similar to what I have been doing. Just put some lump oak in there and lit that up with a couple of tumbleweeds. Put a small pecan split and a small cherry split in there. These splits that I have, they're pretty long, but they're narrow. So put those on there. I'll give this about 10 minutes, I guess, to build a good fire, but I don't want it to be raging. After about 10 minutes, I'll shut it down and let this pit come up nice and slow. This fire's been going for 1 hour and 5 minutes. Our temperature has stabilized at this 225. Running my stack about halfway. See, we got a nice, clean, clear smoke coming out of here. Smells great, running clean. Let's check on the firebox real quick before we throw the ribs on. I got these vents about half open back here. And you can see those two splits that we put in there an hour ago when we started the fire. They're still burning, so I'm not going to add any more wood right now, but I'm going to throw some ribs on. I've got this beautiful rack of baby back ribs. So I prepped these about an hour ago. But to get the ribs ready, I just pull the blood out of the veins on the back, just push across that bone. You'll see a lot of these veins have blood in them, so I just kind of milk that out. I pull the membrane off. That's my choice. If you like to eat the membrane, leave it on there, and then give it a good season and leave it on the counter for about an hour. Now I'm going to throw these here on the G3. So whether you think you need a fully insulated pit or not, and I know that's debatable for you, for your circumstance and the region you live in, there is a ton of space on this smoker. I could easily lay out 12 racks of ribs, 6 on the bottom, 6 on the top, maybe 7 on each rack. So you can cook a ton of food on this smoker. It has been 1 hour since I put the ribs on the smoker. So I'm going to check them out, see what they're looking like, see if we need to spritz or not. I did come out about 20 minutes after I put this rack on. I had forgotten to put the water pan in there, which I'm notorious for doing. So I added the water pan, and I did add another split at that time. Temperature came up to around 275. After that, it settled in now around 260, which I know 260 on that thermometer gets me about 250 right here at grate level, and that's what I'm going for. I pulled out the top rack so you can see a little better. Not a lot happening yet. Like I said, it's only been an hour. You can see what a little bit of color we got on there. It's getting a little bit tacky. I'll go ahead and give them a light spritz, and we'll check our fire. We've got a nice coal bed in here. This is from that lump and the 3 splits total that we've burned. And I'm going to throw in this pecan split. We'll give that just a minute to get lit up, and then we'll shut it back down. It's been 2 hours on the ribs, an hour since we checked them last time, and I'm going to throw my graph right up here so you can kind of see what's going on. And you can get an idea of what to expect out of temperatures, again, with this fully insulated smoker. And you can see it's been an hour, right at an hour, maybe 5 minutes less than an hour since we checked last time and added that last split. After we did that, the temperature went up to 284 and now has come back down to 248 over that hour period. Now we'll see what that split looks like in a few minutes. I know that we need to add another split. That's probably stretching it a little further than we should. Hopefully we don't lose the coal bed. But I haven't done anything to the dampers. I've made no adjustments, still running about half on both of them. And it just seems to like it right there and rock and roll. Again, not a lot of temperature swings with this pit, holds temp really well. So I really like that, but let's check on these ribs. Our ribs are looking good. You can see that it's starting to turn up a little bit on this end out here. So we know that it's cooking. It's beginning to tighten up a little bit. It's a lot drier now than it was last time. So definitely going to spritz. And I want you to look at the bottom side here. We're getting some color, but look at the bottom. You can see how much lighter the bottom is than what the top is. And that tells me that I'm getting that good top down cooking here. And that's what I'm going for. So just want to give this a spritz really quick. And this is just apple cider vinegar. So this pit burns a really clean smoke, really clean fire. And you can see what we've got left in here. Our ashes, our coal bed. Still should have plenty in there for this one to catch, even though it's been an hour. This is a cherry split that I'm throwing on here. We'll give that just a minute to catch. But one good thing about this insulated firebox is it holds so much heat. Now, if I let my fire burn down that far on the Pecos, I would have a really difficult time for it having enough heat to light the next split. But with this one, we'll give it just a minute. Maybe I'll give you a little fast forward action and we'll see how long it takes for the split to light. There we go. Took a little longer than I thought, but I'm guessing that was probably about a minute, minute and a half or something. There we go. I'm going to shut her down. You can see that I have these vents here, the intake, about halfway. Like I said, I've not moved these in, I don't know, a couple of hours now. So we'll let this ride for a while and probably about 45 minutes or something. I don't think I'll let that split go quite as long as I did on the last one. Ribs have been on for 3 hours and 5 minutes. So let's check them out. Been a really nice color on these. And this is usually about the time that I will wrap. I just wanted to see what this little band of fat over here is looking like. Our bark set on there. Still got some fat in here that needs to render out. So I'm going to wrap these. I like wrapping mine in butcher paper. And then we'll throw them back on for a little bit. All I put in the butcher paper was just a little bit of homemade barbecue sauce that I make. It's vinegar based with a little brown sugar and then some other spices and things in it. So I put just a little bit of that in there so it would just kind of wet the paper, wrapped this back up, and we'll put it on here again for, I don't know, I'll check it in. Probably usually takes about an hour and 15 minutes to an hour and a half. It's been an hour and a half now on these ribs since we wrapped them. And I did mix up some crab dip and put in here. I'm gonna give these a little test here, see how they're filling, how they're bending. Yeah, they're a little tight. I'm gonna leave these for just a little bit longer. It's been 6 hours now. 3 hours unwrapped, 3 hours wrapped. This is much longer than I typically cook ribs. Again, I'm not saying it's fault of the smoker. I usually bump that temp up when I wrap. And I know sometimes in butcher paper, it takes as long or sometimes a little longer to cook than it actually does if you don't wrap. Now, foil really speeds it up. Butcher paper really doesn't, but it retains your bark, the moisture, and that smoke flavor. Here we've got these. I'm going to unwrap them now. I can tell, I just checked. I mean, they're bending nicely. And guys, I like my ribs very tender. Falling off the bone. I know a lot of people don't like that. You can see here some bone pull back here. Bones are showing. We're up to, that's 201, 202 in between these. But I can tell that this probe is going in very smoothly. So these are nice and tender. I'm going to pull them out of the paper now. And I'm just going to put a little bit of barbecue sauce on each side and just give it maybe 10 minutes or something to set, and then we'll pull them off. Since this is taking so long, I'm not even going to let that set before I flip it. I'm just going to flip this over. Throw some barbecue sauce on this side. We'll give it about 15 minutes and then we'll slice these bad boys open. So finally, after 6 hours and 15 minutes, I'm getting ready to pull these off. I'm gonna let them rest maybe 5-10 minutes, cool down a little bit. We'll slice them open and see how they are. You can see these ribs turned out really good. Has a nice color on them. The bark developed well. The fat render on these ribs was really good. Left that nice gelatinous fat at the end, which we did have them wrapped for 3 hours, which was unusual. But again, I usually heat the pit up a little more after wrapping, and I didn't do that this time. I didn't get any shots of me tasting these, but they were great. They were delicious. You can see here I was pulling some of this meat off of the bone, and it pulls off very easily. I had some people stopped by, so several of us ate these ribs, and it was kind of the consensus among all of us that, yeah, the ribs were good, the bark was developed good, the fat rendered well, but as far as the smoke flavor, and I know that's one of the big questions, it did not have as smoky a flavor as you may get on another pit. Now, on the Oklahoma Joe's Bronco, of course, it's going to be smokier. You get that smoldering fire. On the Pecos, I think they're a little smokier flavor than what I got here on the G3. But now that being said, that's not a bad thing. The ribs are really good, and they did have that smoke flavor on them. So really, it's just kind of up to your personal preference. I'm still very interested to see what kind of smokiness, the flavor that develops over a long cook. I will be doing a pork butt. I was going to do that first, but I'll be trying to get that out in the next week or two. As far as the insulated pit and my thoughts, I know there's been a lot of comments and a lot of negativity towards an insulated pit, but the way I look at it, you know, people's been making insulated vertical pits for years. This is just an insulated horizontal pit. It's something different. And I think a lot of the negative thoughts towards it or negative opinions come from those who have been used to using maybe a 1/4-inch pit or something of that nature. And it's that retraining of the brain. For me, I haven't had that issue because I've never had a nice, expensive 1/4-inch pit of this size to use before. So I'm learning the whole thing, start to finish, on this insulated pit. So I've had no problems bringing it up to temp slow and holding that temp. I haven't seen massive spikes in the temperature. It mitigates temperature really well, much better than the Pecos. I'm using splits that are about half the size of what I put on the Pecos, and you know, about every 45 minutes or so, I'll come out, throw another split in. I've not had to deal with the vents any. I set them about halfway, and that's where they've been all day today. So I still think the G3 has a lot of good things going for it. You know, I'm not recommending that you go out and buy one tomorrow. That really depends on you, what you're looking for, your budget. And I would say it really strongly depends on the region you live in. I think in a colder region, you're going to have more benefit from the fully insulated pit than what I do here in North Carolina. Either way, things are going well with the pit. I like the G3. I'll be throwing that pork butt on soon. I meant to get that done first, but you know, life gets in the way. But we'll see you next time on Peppercoat Barbecue.